13-2 square root functions. I'm going to do the first question with all of you. The parent graph, we've been usually using the values -2, 0, 1, 4, and 9. The square root of -2 is not possible, not defined. Square root of 0, 0. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 4, 2. And square root of 9 is 3. The domain for square root of x starts at, because if we graph this graph, let's graph this graph first before doing the domain and the range. So cannot graph the -2 point. We will start with 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, and 9, 3. And then if you keep taking positive values, you will keep getting positive answers. So this graph actually goes like this with the arrow on one side. Since the values this graph cannot take negative x values, therefore the starting point is actually 0, 0. And that is why the domain, this graph actually goes a little bit like this, crosses 1, 1. And then if you look for the domain, it actually starts at 0 and goes all the way up till infinity. If you write it in the interval notation, it will look like this. Point 0 is actually included. So this is a bracket and there is an equality sign there. For the range, again, it's the same thing. 0 is less than equal y, less than infinity. 0 is included, goes up to infinity. Now let's graph the transformed graph. There are two things happening in the transformed graph. One is that all of the graph is moving 2 to the right. It's shifting to right. Also, this is causing it for it to reflect about the x-axis. Because it is moving 2 to the right, we will add 2 to all the x values. 2 to all the x values. So if you do 0 plus 2, it is 2. 1 plus 2, 3. All the defined x values, we will add 2 to it. 4 plus 2 is 6. 9 plus 2, 11. The y values stay the same in value but change in sign, because we are going to multiply each of the defined y values by -1. We are going to multiply each of the y values by -1. Multiply. So it becomes 0 times -1 stays 0. But 1 times -1, -1. 2 times -1, -2. 3 times -1 is -3. I'm going to go ahead and graph this graph on the axis. So we will start with the point 2, 0, 3, -1, 6, -2, and 11, -3. 11 will go a little bit out of the axis. We are going to let that point be. We are going to join the other points. As the x values keep increasing, the y values keep taking values which are negative. So that's why there is this arrow sign in the middle. What that means for our domain and range for the transformed graph, the domain this time starts at 2, because we have moved the entire graph 2 to the right. So it starts at 2 and goes up to infinity. In the interval notation, it looks like this. For the range, it's interesting though, because the lowest y value that it will take is -infinity. Lowest y value is negative infinity. The highest value that y takes is 0. So it looks like this. Now negative infinity up till 0, you will write in the interval notation like this. Let's just quickly fill out the transformations. To obtain the graph of g, we are going to horizontally translate the graph of f, write 2 units by adding 2 to the x values. Then reflecting the graph of f across the x-axis by multiplying by -1 to the y values.